and I wish I really respected how little they knew. One, because it would allow what little I knew to stand out and flourish without me wanting to bolster my knowledge set past to where the point that it was. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, hey, if you know how little someone knows when they take up their hard-earned money and they fork it over to you to coach them or train them, that is a sign that I don't know anything. Like, because now, like, I don't have anyone coach me really. Like, I have friends, but I know enough to be able to manage that. I'm not part of the client pool on the internet that's going to hire someone to coach them,
Mm-hmm.
because I know enough that I can kind of sort it out myself. Not to say there isn't benefits if you are an advanced coach to having a coach. I absolutely believe that is the case. But I think, when you're coaching the general population, it's one thing to be confident in your knowledge base and your skill set. It's another thing to be confident in your client's lack of both of those, right? Like, and I extrapolate that out to most of the world. Like, most of the stuff I do, I just assume that no one knows anything about anything. So then I just go, I don't know, I'll try it. Like, sure, let's give this a crack. And, and I'm saying it always works out or I always hit it out of the park. But that mindset of like, I think people look at propping themselves up earlier in their career by, acquiring a ton of knowledge and all that. But I find those people get insecure because they know how much there is to know and they want to know all of it. But where one of the most important things to know is how little your client knows and how you can help them with the most basic of things only if you admit where it is you don't know something. Because when you work within the realm of things that we know to be true that are so far out of their scope of understanding and which could be so profound if enacted even just a little bit, that'll land with them because they know you have the humility to say what you don't know, which builds that much more validity behind the things that you know. And the things that you know are so far beyond what they're capable of understanding that if you can impart that, they're going to make unbelievable changes very, very fast.
That's so true. And oh man, I, I wish people could know how ignorant they were, myself
It's
included,
amazing. It's
because it's
amazing.
right.
So
I know
good.
that would be a fucking superpower.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like I have a pretty real grasp on the things that I'm good at relative to other people that do things, and the things that I'm not good at. And I feel like that's rooted in reality, but I'm sure it's rooted in ignorance. 100%. I just wish I knew what it was. But I can tell you definitively, if you've been training for 2 years, you are more ignorant than you are knowledgeable. Like 100%. I've met so many trainers that are so confident with so little knowledge. And I've also met so many trainers that are not confident with so much knowledge. And like the one that's not confident with more knowledge is probably better at at the technical skills, at least, than the one that is super confident with no knowledge. And I guess part of this is just like humility and understanding that you are ignorant no matter where you are, who you are, how long you've been doing what you're doing. It's just understanding the proportion of ignorance. And that would be a fucking superpower. That was a side note because that's not going to get us anywhere in terms of knowing where you're at in training. But I think I like the progression of this. And then it was kind of like the technical skill for me. Then we went to the communication side of things. I think the third one for me is going to be a business skill. And it's understanding that you're not asking people of your knowledge and skill set to pay the price that you're charging, right? It was hard for me to find value in the service that I was offering when I first started training people because just like you, I was surrounded with people that enjoyed training, enjoyed learning about training, really understood like as much as they could or consumed at least as much as they could around training so that they could further their knowledge. And those are not the people that hire a trainer, right? I was not the embodiment of someone who would hire a trainer, right? The person that's going to hire a trainer, and I know this now after being in the industry for almost 2 decades, is someone that's probably busy, probably has disposable income, probably doesn't care much about training or knows that they should do it but doesn't know where to start, and they're outsourcing all of the fucks that they have to give about this to you. So it's someone that is willing to pay you to solve a problem that they have. So when you're thinking about how much you're going to charge for the service that you're offering that person, you need to take that into consideration, right? And I'm not saying like charge absurd rates out of the gate. I think your price should increase with your experience, your lack of ignorance, and your gain of knowledge over time. But you also need to make a living. And I think that's something that a lot of trainers stretch themselves so thin out of the gate because they can't find the value in what they're doing. And that just means that they're not marketing to the right people, or they're not charging the right price to the people that will pay it. And that's something that it's taken me a long time to really, and I still go back and forth with it because I was talking about rates just in the area with a local chiropractor that wanted to come by and like just chat the other day. And like my rates for what I do and how good I am at it are not absurd. There are people that are way worse at the things that I do, the same exact things, that charge more money for them. And that doesn't right, yeah.
You're
But
way better than I am.
no, that's not true. There's one person I would refer anyone to that is a chiropractor on this planet, just one single person. It's you.
You're the only person I've ever referred anyone to.
Yeah, same, dude. In terms of chiropractors, same. I'm not recommending a single motherfucker.
Jesus.
But what I was getting at is that, like, if you want to have a sustainable business, you have to not only charge a price that will allow you to sustain your lifestyle, but also will allow clients to sustain that in their budget, right? If I charge $400 an hour for a training session, that's an absurd price. Not many people charge that. I'm sure some do, and they don't deserve it because it's fucking training. You're telling people to work out. You're at any level, no matter, actually, this happens sooner the better you are at it, is you're just hanging out with someone and changing weights for them. That's all you're fucking doing. And like, not to diminish the profession, it takes a lot of knowledge and experience to get to that level where it feels like that. But when you do, that's what you're doing. And that's a good trainer. You'll get to that point really quickly. So if you want people to keep coming in and to have sustainable results with you, either you need to find clientele that will pay more, or you need to have pricing that supports that being a sustainable part of someone's budget and justifies that too with the service that you're offering. So that's like kind of the caveat on both ends, is that like, fucking stop charging too little, but there's an upper ceiling to what you can charge if you want this to be a sustainable thing.
Okay. So I think maybe in the interest of the brevity of the episode, so far we have like a technical skill, a communication skill, a business skill.
Mm-hmm.
I think my last one would be, and this is both personal and professional. So it's like understanding the concept of a worldview, like understanding
Like
that
that.
like people yourself have a worldview, whether you know it or not, and that other people have a worldview, and those worldviews are going to differ. And the quicker you can identify or attempt to identify that, one, a worldview exists, and two, what might this person's worldview consist of, you're just going to be able to make better decisions faster because you're going to be able to understand how you make decisions, right? And how someone else makes decisions.